Good morning, special guests, staff, and students. Welcome to our Honor Day Assembly. My name is Addie Brunel, and along with my friend Hassan Kurwa, we have the privilege of being your MCs for today's assembly. Strathcona-Tweedsmuir School is located on important and sacred land within Treaty 7 and the traditional territories of the Niitsitapi from the Blackfoot Confederacy, including the Siksika, Piikani, and Kainai nations, the Yahe Nakota of the Chiniki, Bearspaw, and Wesley nations, and the Dene of the Tsuut'ina Nation.
Embracing the truth and history of Canada and the people who lived here before us is imperative to fostering pluralism within our school community and the wider world. The story of Canada started with those who cared for the land we reside on, and it is important to continue that story with the same values of community and respect.
Hassan and I feel immensely grateful that we learn on this beautiful campus. The land is a part of who we are. It connects us to our ancestors, our elders, traditional knowledge keepers, and to each other. There are many definitions for the word honor. To honor someone is to hold them in great esteem, to remember them, and to fulfill that memory by how we choose to live our lives.
Today, February 1st, 2024, marks the 21st anniversary of the avalanche, which claimed the lives of 7 of our grade 10 students. This morning, we welcome community members who knew and loved these students as we gather to honor the tragic loss of 7 lives and understand the lasting legacy they have left with us here at STS. I would now like to welcome Mrs. Grant Watt, our head of school, to the podium to share an invocation and her thoughts with us.
Good morning, honored guests. It is truly a privilege for me to be able to welcome you to our Honor Day Assembly at Strathcona-Tweedsmuir School today. And to our MCs, thank you for starting us off so well. I am grateful from the bottom of my heart for your presence, and to those of you who will view this assembly later today and in the coming days. Please know your presence is felt here today and appreciated. As we know, we are gathered this morning because it marks 21 years since without a doubt is the most terrible and tragic day in our history. And as you've already heard, on February 1st, 2003, 7 of our beloved students lost their lives. Classmates and teachers were injured, and families were forever impacted, and our STS community was changed forever. Please allow me a moment to say their names out loud. We recognize Ben Albert, Daniel Arado, Scott Broshko, Alex Patillo, Michael Shaw, Marissa Stadden, and Jeffrey Trickett. They were grade 10 students at the time, and they were backcountry skiing in the Rogers Pass area with a group of their classmates and several teachers on this excursion, doing a very ordinary thing. These students and their families have been forever impacted. As I reflect personally on my feelings today, I am struck by the juxtaposition of time that seems to race forward. Here we are in February, the start of the school year, months ago. And while 21 years have passed, the dichotomy exists that time seems to stand still on this day. And in this moment, by your respect and your gathering, we come together to see what binds us. My days recently have been spent reconnecting with many people linked to this event, both in person, on the phone, in email, and in reflection of what it means as it changes as time passes. Words are completely inadequate to me to explain or describe loss experienced by family members, teachers and friends, and indeed our wider community. But our commitment to coming together tells me that the compassion in our heart, the love in our heart, and the value we place on each other in community is reason enough. Suffice it to say that the profound sense of sorrow and grief that was experienced forever changed the direction of lives. However, from that has come many positive things. Writer Brené Brown says that owning our story and loving ourselves through that process is the bravest thing that we'll ever do. And every day we get up and we come and we show up, and that's important. As with all our life experiences, there is learning that inevitably occurs, and that learning, unfortunately, is typically more profound when the experience is a traumatic one. This tragedy impacted the entire world, and for those of you new to the community, it's important for you to know that. The courage of our STS families and our community have demonstrated and are inspirational to the world, and there were tangible and important outcomes of that Connaught Creek Valley avalanche. Specifically, and I want to honor this as it is important recognizing the loss, what happened. For those of you who don't know the story, it led to wholesale changes in terrain readings, avalanche safety, ratings, and backcountry travel protocols, which we adhere to at STS and which people do worldwide. It launched a new era of elevated risk management and mitigation and safety standards that have influenced schools, organizations around the globe. In the words of author Ernest Hemingway, we're stronger in the places we've been broken, and I believe that that is true in this situation. As an educator at another school that experienced its own tragedy at the time that this one occurred, I remember the day very clearly sitting in my office. And in the ensuing years, I've since been grateful, not knowing that I would find myself employed by STS, but finding myself year after year grateful, as did my colleagues in education collectively, as benefactors of these changes. And I remain indebted, personally and professionally, to those who took these changes forward. It is my sincere and public promise to each of you that I will carry this vigilance forward in my work at STS as the head of school and beyond. In the end, our learning has made things safer for all of us. At STS, we have strived to become a global leader in safety and risk management, and many schools and organizations on a daily basis reach out to us. I am yet again reminded of the importance of connection and community. That said, and as seems fitting to share this morning, it is imperative and essential that we do not become complacent in this and other areas. While change comes, what remains steadfast and essential to our collective well-being is our culture of commitment to safety and well-being. I will remind all of you that safety systems are only as good as our adherence to them, and I had an opportunity to speak to some students yesterday about this. It is always important that we remind each other not to become complacent. It is the ongoing and collective responsibility of each of you and I to remain safe, to be vigilant, and I am grateful every day for this ethos of safety and vigilance as part of the STS way, because it allows us to embrace new opportunities that are great for you and for the community. Doing so requires awareness and diligence, resources, attention, and detail, and it is and must be part of our culture and the responsibility of everyone to accept. It must be the way we do things, not just what we say. And I can assure you that the STS community remains committed to ensuring that this is central to our work. And so I say publicly here in front of you as witnesses that you have my promise that this will remain a focus of the work we do, and it is a sacred, sacred trust that I will not violate. I would add to this, and for our student and audience members, we strive at STS to provide opportunities for you as students to navigate this complicated world. Your critical thinking and problem-solving skills are important to learn because you will need them on a daily basis. And Mr. Simon taught me yesterday what the definition of intelligence is and why we're different than non-thinking robots. Intelligence is knowing what to do when you don't know what to do. And indeed, that is the challenge you and I face on every day. The example that he gave me is a robot programmed to go upstairs. When it hits a stair that's slightly higher, not part of the program, it stops. It can't figure it out. But you and I, when we encounter challenge, will use our critical thinking skills, what you learn from your families and what you learn from STS, to figure it out. That indeed is intelligence, and our conversation resonated with me, Mr. Simon. You can plan and prepare, but must be prepared when context and conditions change. And finally, resiliency is something that is nurtured and developed over time. You can't fast track it. Confidence to overcome adversity, the importance of family, so key, and a belief in love, yes, love, to solving all that ails you is something I believe in. Students in particular, but wider audience, I want you to leave this morning knowing that this is true for you today. For individuals who are new to our community or those of you facing challenge, remember this and see it in this room and beyond. You are part of a community. You are part of a community. And not only that, you are part of a community that cares about you and life. Life, indeed, is a team sport, and we can count on each other. As we gather here this morning in closing yet again, I recognize that many of you never had the chance or privilege of meeting Ben, Daniel, Scott, Alexander, Michael, Marissa, or Jeffrey. I am one of those people. Those who did know them will tell you that their brief lives left an indelible print on those around them, and I know they have on me. And I can honestly tell you that not a day goes by that I don't think about them or their classmates that day on the trip and what it means to learn from them. Thank you to our guests, family members, and friends for joining together this morning. Please know your presence, continued support, vigilance, and compassion is appreciated. And you are always welcome at STS on this day or any other. Humbly and gratefully, thank you, and I'll turn it back to you.
Thank you, Mrs. Grant-Watt. The events of February 1st, 2003 are forever a part of our history. Although the tragedy occurred before most of us were born, we can imagine and empathize with the deep sense of loss that affected the entire community. We feel connected to the students because we are a part of the same family, woven together by our values and experiences as STS students. For most of us, the first encounter with this legacy is the time that we spend in the Forever Woods, a space that is peaceful, where 7 statues sit in honor of each student's spirit. Although we never had the chance to know these students and call them friends, there are always students walking, reading, and sitting on the benches in the Forever Woods. We appreciate this beautiful space for quiet reflection.
In addition, scholarships were established in the names of the lost students. The Forever Woods scholarships and bursaries were first given in 2009, and since then, close to $1.4 million has been awarded to students in grades 10 through 12. There are currently 38 Forever Woods scholars attending STS, of which Addie and I are 2. Each Forever Woods scholar has a deep connection with the values and the qualities of the individual student for whom their scholarship was named. We are honored to be part of this group of scholars who strive to uphold the most essential values of our community.
Funds are also allocated for middle school students to enjoy Danarado Day each year, a day of challenges that embrace the joy of hands-on learning, which help us to remember Dan's fun-loving spirit and unique way of seeing the world. 2 special awards are also presented at prize giving. The first is given in honor of Scott Broshko to the individual who strives to obtain his or her own goals and in turn helps others achieve theirs. The second is awarded in honor of Alexander Patillo to the student who fulfills the qualities that Alexander demonstrated in the fields of drama and musical theater as a skilled performer and a positive contributor, both in class and on stage.
Finally, the Patillo-Bensler Family Theatre Fund was established to sustain development in the fine arts by improving the theatre space, bringing in guest artists, and providing scholarships for students to attend educational programming outside of the school. These scholarships, awards, and endowments have helped to turn the loss that our community sustained into a positive legacy that will affect all future generations of STS students.
Each year on this day, the school brings in a guest speaker to share an inspirational story and to connect us to these former students by reminding us of the qualities they demonstrated as compassionate, curious, and creative global citizens who lead with courage. These qualities are part of our vision at STS and ones that we all share.
This year's guest speaker is Sue Riddell Rose. Miss Riddell Rose is the president and CEO of Perpetual Energy Incorporated. She graduated from Queen's University with a Bachelor of Science in Geological Engineering and has over 25 years of experience in the Canadian oil and natural gas industry. She is also actively involved with a number of non-for-profit organizations.
Today, Miss Riddell Rose is here to share her message that the world needs your energy. She believes that every one of us has a wonderful opportunity to serve our community with the unique gifts that we each possess. I know her message will resonate with you as we continue to honor Ben, Daniel, Scott, Marissa, Jeffrey, Alexander, and Michael on the anniversary of their passing. Welcome, Miss Riddell Rose.
Well, good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for the honor of being here today. As our beautiful hosts today, Addie and Hassan, you're doing a great job. Thank you for that. Had mentioned, my boys all graduated from here. They were lifers. Our family's really been part of the STS community for 24 and a half years. The boys, Brendan, Jeremy, and Aiden. Brendan was the graduating class of 2012. That's him in grade 1. Jeremy was the class of 2014, and Aiden the class of 2020. They were all lifers here, grade 1 through 12 for all three of them. And really that was a 20-year shift for Mike and I as parents. I would say it would be a huge understatement to say that we were anything but eternally grateful for what the teachers, all the parents, the students, quite literally the entire community have done for our family, for Mike and I as parents, and for us personally, and for playing the role in helping our boys to grow and thrive in as you heard from our head of school today, a very complex world, but at the same time, a really incredible and exciting world. I can call out so many TSN turning points. I'm reminded today as I see teachers coming, friendly faces always whenever we join in the community here. And I would say there are many TSN turning points where teachers made a huge difference for our kids. And we love what STS is, what it's about, and we're really committed to be forever part of the community that is really focused on making a difference in the world by helping families build citizens that make a difference in the world, which is a pretty amazing. So we're all a gift to this world. We all have things that make us special. We can make people laugh. Maybe it's how we inspire people, how fast we can run, how we make them feel with our music or our art. And we are all called to use those special gifts to uniquely impact the world, not just someday, but every day in the relationships we have, and in the big things and in the little things we do. So today I'm going to share a few stories that wrap around what has come to be a motto for me. I call it the 4 Ps. This actually is our wall in the gym at our workout facility and at our office in Perpetual. And it's covered in inspirational quotes, and I got to put one of mine on there too. It's live a life of passion, or live a life of purpose through the 4 Ps. Find your passion, see the possibilities, pursue your goals and opportunities, and persevere. And actually, since I thought of this, I've actually added a 5th P, plan. And that's a recipe to turn big dreams into goals and then into reality. So hopefully today I can send you away thinking about your own unique and special gifts, and also thinking about the difference you can make and are already making in this world with those incredible gifts. And you will be inspired to be bold and to be committed to love and to serve and to share your energy with the world. One of the things that attracted me to geology was the excitement of the hunt and envisioning the possibilities, then letting logic drive you to the most probable answer. It's like being a detective a little bit. You know, we geoscientists get to use a bunch of data, try to figure out what's going on miles and miles underground. But it's not just data, it's also using your imagination. As Albert Einstein is famous for saying, imagination is more important than knowledge. When I first started working as a geological engineer, computers and mainframes for the accountants and massive processors for the geophysicists were all around us. We got our well logs through microfiche readers, if you can believe it, printed logs to cut and splice them into these long rolls of paper, made cross-sections by hand, and then we actually colored our maps with pencil crayons. In fact, it was standard issue at Shell to get this super beautiful box of Faber-Castells, and every pencil crayon was used for, had the number on the crayon was actually used for what formation you were coloring, or Shell's yellow land was a certain color. And I remember my dad telling me, you know, when we could all, you know, go to computer-generated maps, he said, that's all good, but you don't want to lose your chance to dream about the possibilities. So as an explorationist, we dream big, we're curious, we follow up leads, we build out prospects, we assess the likelihood of oil and gas being trapped down there, and if it is, can we get it out of the ground? Can we make any money at it? And then if the reward's high enough and it warrants the risks, we drill, and we learn if our big ideas work. So use your imagination, see the possibilities, and be curious. But without a plan, a dream is really just a wish. So a plan is what makes a dream a goal. Planning's about figuring out the how. It's about teamwork, bringing people together. That's what actually turns good ideas into great ideas, into the next idea you hadn't even thought of. So teamwork is part of the planning process, and planning to fail, or failing to plan is planning to fail. That's what we like to say at the office, and we spend a lot of time planning. But then ultimately you got to pursue and get after it. So as Nike says, eventually you just have to do it. Don't let the odds scare you away from even trying. We had one of the quotes from Wayne Gretzky on our wall, I've missed 100% of the shots I didn't take. You got to take the chances if you're going to get anything in the net. Take shots, lots of them. And especially when you're working as a team, there might even be a rebound. So even with the best planning, not everything works out though. If you, in fact, aren't failing, you aren't learning. So when you're setting big goals, don't be afraid to fail. Whenever we send people to space, there's risks. We do everything we can to mitigate those, but there's still risks. If the reward warrants the risk, it's a worthy pursuit. So pursue, just do it. So I've had a lot of challenges in my career too, and there's one thing that I've learned, that it's every obstacle is an opportunity. So a few years ago, I received one of those pass-along emails, that they're kind of motherhood and apple pie emails that a girlfriend sent, and you know, it says, if you don't read this and pass it along, you'll have bad luck for the next 7 years, so of course you have to read it. But it was titled, The 5 Most Important Lessons in Life. So I know you'd all like to hear about all 5 lessons, and they were in the context of great little stories, but I just picked out one of them to recite to you today. Because it's at the heart of pursuing things, being bold, and tackling the big challenges. And this was lesson number 4, the obstacle in our path. The story went something like this. In ancient times, a king had a boulder placed on a roadway. Then he hid himself and watched to see if anyone would remove the huge rock. Some of the king's wealthiest merchants and courtiers came along and simply walked around it. Many loudly blamed the king for not keeping the roads clear, but not anyone did anything about the stone to get it out of the way so people could pass. Then a peasant came along. He was carrying a big load of vegetables. And when he got to the boulder, he laid down his burden and tried to move the stone to the side of the road. He was pushing and straining. He finally succeeded. And then after he picked up his load of vegetables, he noticed this big purse lying in the middle of the road where the boulder had been. The purse contained many gold coins and a note from the king that indicated that the gold was for the person who removed the boulder from the roadway. So the peasant learned that day, every obstacle presents an opportunity. So don't walk around them, tackle them head on. Better yet, if you're looking for a big opportunity, seek out a big and complex problem Problem solving is at the heart of creativity. It's at the heart of the entrepreneurial spirit. And surprisingly, the more complex the problem, the fewer people that are working on it. Rise to the challenges and unleash the opportunities. Move the boulder instead of walking around it, and generally the hidden gems will start to show up. So for years, people, including Mike, have been telling me, Sue, you need to learn how to say no. And believe me, there's many times when I'm in the absolute flurry of commitments that I stand back and say just too much. But the world would have you believe that saying no is the quintessential skill for effective time management. You just walk into chapters, there's hundreds of people have written books that say no, maybe you've read some of them. You know, The Art of Saying No, How to Say No Without Feeling Guilty, Assertiveness, The Art of Saying No, The Power of a Positive No. But I can tell you for sure that I've never met and got involved in the amazing work of so many inspiring people by saying no. But I sure have by saying yes. And I don't mean say yes to everything. Mike and I do say no. We have a whole life of constant prioritization, just like everybody else. But we have a little bit of a framework that we measure everything by in our world. The boys are first, each other, our families, our commitment to be the best at our day jobs at Perpetual and Tourmaline. And that's a commitment to our teams and our shareholders and our partners. But Mike and I are really lucky because we're totally aligned with helping others, that helping others is important to both of us. Helping people in our community, our friends, even the people we don't know and have never met. It's important to our family just because it's the right thing to do. So it's been exciting to be part of so many great things, and usually it starts with the passion, somebody else's passion, coming along and asking for help. It's not always our idea, but getting behind what other people are passionate about is definitely proving always to be a worthy investment. I had the opportunity to be part of a group of Canadian women that came together in what we called the UNICEF 25th team. And it was when Canada was hosting the Women's World Cup of Soccer a few years back. We were focused on newborn and maternal health. It was sort of an educational journey, but at the same time an investment in 6 different countries to sort of pilot a bunch of different things. So a group of us got to visit Peru, and I loved that. We saw what we were doing in the schools and what UNICEF was doing in the schools. Every child starts out with all the potential in the world, and they generally don't control their circumstances that they're born into. So why do Mike and I serve? Because people need our help. Because if we don't, who will? Because if we want our city to be safe, we all need to chip in. Because we want others just to feel happy and joyful and filled with hope too. And also because we can. So even though there's a whole lifestyle section in chapters on the topic of saying no, I say you need to go against that grain, put down the books that make you feel about time management, just say yes once in a while. We're not here at this place and this time by mistake. We have special gifts. We're here for something unique that only we can give. And don't forget, you have your family, your friends, your teachers, and those in this STS community. They're the people in your corner who laugh with you, listen to you, celebrate you. Those are the ones that love you unconditionally. So use your unique and precious gifts and make a difference. Let's discover our passions, see those possibilities, set big goals, plan, but be bold and get going. Make those dreams reality. Be prepared to fail, but persevere and act on the opportunities that come our way. And let's just say yes, because the world truly needs our energy in every single way. That's all I got for you today.
A special thank you to everyone who contributed to today's assembly. We hope it leaves you feeling inspired, connected, and committed to doing nothing but your best each day. Please consider taking time this week to walk through the Forever Woods and reflect on what Honor Day means to you.
To our guests, we invite you to join us behind the fireplace in the Black Watch Bistro for refreshments. To my peers, thank you for your time, attention, and reflection on this important day.